It's been a few days since I managed to put together a video for you. It's been crazy with the head cold and this and that, but we're going to get started on a new project that I think is going to be relatively simple and fun to do and good practice. So this electrical device here is designed by a buddy of mine, and he originally did it, I believe it was in Maya, but I could be wrong, could have been Max, I'm not sure. I'm going to leave a link to his page and you'll see a bunch of excellent work, and we'll be doing some of them as well. And so we're going to model that, so I just brought that in as a reference image. You don't particularly need that, and I've just got the default cube here, and we're going to use that. I'm just going to bring it up and we'll get started on this. I'm going to scale this in the Y just a little bit and make it a box, something like that. Okay, so this is what we're going to be going for. All right, so I'm going to press 2 for edge selection and select. I'm holding down shift and selecting all 4 of those. I'm not going to bend it the exact same. I'm just going to do whatever. So I'm going to look from the front and press Control B and pull until I get a nice curve. I'm going to roll my mouse up. There's 1, 2, 3, and I think I'm just going to go with that. So that's 5 segments in there. Okay, so that's good. Now we're going to come in here, and I think we're going to just deselect, Shift Alt and click there, Shift Alt and click there, and we'll bevel this. I'm not going to do quite as much. I'm going to come back. There's 2, 3. And I think I'm probably okay with just doing that much. Something like that. Okay. So if I take this and if I shade smooth, I might want to put on weighted normal and normal's auto smooth, and that should clear that up a little bit. So that's good. Now I'm going to put a little slit in this towards the back, so might as well get that done. So just go back into edit mode and Control R for an edge loop, slide it somewhere near the back, and then I'm going to press Control B to bevel, pull, but I just want to, and make it something like that. E Alt S and pull, and it'll come in a little ways, so I pulled it down to there. Shift Alt to click these edges, and we're going to bevel them. Control B, pull, and I want to have 3 edges in there, like that. And I think I'll go into that crevice, drop an edge loop, and pull it that way and that way, and it'll just be a little cleaner, like that. Let's go ahead and turn on the cavity shader, and that'll help. And make sure that this is not facing the wrong way. All right, we're off to a good start. So we got the main body done. Next thing we want to do is we're going to do this piece here. And to do that, I'm going to come in here, press 3 for face selection and select that face. And I'm going to Shift D to duplicate and pull it out. I'm going to look from the front. I'm going to scale it down a little bit, just pressing S, something like that. And I'm going to break it out. I'm going to press P, separate by selection, so I've got that. Okay, so I can pull that back, doesn't really matter. I'm going to extrude out a little bit like this, and it's inherited all these modifiers, so I can get rid of that, turn that off. I might need it in the end, but I'm going to do that. I'm going to press S to scale, just sort of bend it down a little bit like that. Okay, so we've got that, and it slopes down. So that's going to push against, so I don't need, I'm going to pull it out, I don't need this back face. I want to get rid of that. That'll help with the shading anyhow. So we're going to do that, and then we want to put a bevel. So select that face and Control B and pull, and I'll have 3, and it'll look like that. So I can take this, and now I can bring it back until it makes contact. So that's good. Now you could just drop a cylinder on top of this, and that's probably the easier way, and that would probably mean we don't have to do a subdivision surface. So in that case, I may actually take this and then Shift select that, Control L, and copy modifiers, and we'll get that on this thing. We'll get what I just deleted. I'll get that, and we'll see if I put on that, and then we're in good shape with that. Double check that. Okay, good. All right, so we'll go ahead and we'll do a cylinder to make that piece. Okay, so I'd like to bring my 3D cursor right in the middle of this. So select it and go to edit mode and select it all, and Shift S, cursor selected. My 3D cursor is now right there. All right, so let's use a cylinder, and I'm going to go for a pretty high. I'm going to leave it at 32 and hope that's smooth enough. I could even put a subdivision on that. S to scale it down. Let's rotate X 90. Let's get rid of the back face here. It's a front face now, but I'm going to take the whole thing and I'm going to rotate RX 180 just to flip backwards so that face is gone. In fact, I'm probably going to be getting rid of this face in a moment. What I'll do is I'm going to pull it in. Let's just have another look at this. So it arches down just like this piece. So I'm going to press S. Oh, I got the whole thing. Let me move it out and see what's going on. Okay, let's see what I got. Okay, yeah, okay. Let's take this edge. I just want to make this shorter now. I can build it out here. So I'll just go ahead. I'm going to press S to scale. Do that just a little bit. And then I'm going to press, I'm going to do I to inset, pull in to make a little lip like that. And we're just going to extrude back. E to extruding, extrude back. And I'm actually going to delete that face. I'm not going to need it. Doesn't really matter how far back this comes. All right, let's bevel this now. 2 for edge selection and Shift Alt and click those edges. Control B and do something like that. You don't want them to touch, of course. And I'll do that. And I'll take this piece, pull it back, and then I'll just look at the size of everything. Let's see if I'm liking it. I think I want it, what do I want to do here? No, it's probably okay. All right, that's right in the middle, and so now I need to do this piece here. And for that, I could probably just use a circle from here. So let's do it that way. Let's go in, and in edge selection, Shift Alt and click any one of these circles. Doesn't really matter. And I'm going to Shift D to duplicate and pull it out. P to break it out. So it'll have whatever modifiers this has, and we'll see how that works. Let's take that and let's go F to make a face, and E to extrude, pull it back, but get rid of the back face. We're not going to need it. I'm going to take it and let's just see if it's flipped. Yeah, it is. So let's Alt N, recalculate outside. Okie dokie. And now for this piece, I'm going to take that and just Control B and give it a nice big rounding like that. And I'm going to roll my mouse up 2 more. So I have a total of 5 segments I just put in there. Let's pull that in. And have a look at that. I'm going to shade smooth. And I'm going to be making it smaller. So I'm just going to S to scale it. And just get it so it looks like I like it. Okay, not bad. Could have used a UV sphere if you wanted a bit more rounding. But I think that's going to be okay. I might scale in the Y and just puff it up a little bit. Okay, and did we already check that? Yeah, okay. All right, so that's that so far. And so the next thing we need is this piece here in the middle. It's a sort of a handle-like thing. My 3D cursor still in the middle. And so for this one, let's see what we want to do. Let's just bring in a circle. I'll leave it at 32, and I want to stand it up, so I'm going to rotate Y 90, scale it down till we sort of see how it's going to go. I'm going to press F to make a face, and E to extrude and pull out sideways, and then take this and sort of center it over the 3D cursor like that, right in the middle of the white circle. Close enough. And this is, I want it a little flatter, so I'm going to take this whole thing and scale it in the Y, and I might lose it underneath there. I'm going to scale it in the Y again and do something like that. And I can make it a little thinner if I want, but we'll go with that. So let's take this, look from the side and just focus on it. Come in here, and I think what I'll do is I'll go into wireframe, and I'll box select this stuff, and I'll delete those vertices. And now the faces will be gone. So I'm going to, in edge selection, Shift Alt to click there, F, Shift Alt to click there, F. It's open at the back, that's good. Okay, 3, face selection, select this face, and now we're gonna bevel this. Control B, pull. Now how many do I need? Maybe 3, like that, shade smooth. And that is my piece in there. And then you can just scale it a little bit if you want, pull it in or whatever. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. Let's put a little decoration, a little dot on there. Let's use, doesn't really have to be high poly. Let's go for a UV sphere with 16 vertices. scale it down, and move it out here. Or let's look from the side, and let's rotate it. Rotate X 90, and go into wireframe and box select. You can do all those vertices. Take that, scale it. I'm just going to push that on there. So let's go back to solid mode and see. Let's scale it down. I'm going to flatten it a bit, scale in the Y like that, and then just push it in and shade smooth, and maybe make it a little bit smaller. Okay, is it facing the right way? Ah, this one isn't. So let's flip that. So we have that stuff going. So far, so good. All right, the next part is going to be these circles here, which are essentially cylinders, so that's good. So we'll come up here and we'll go Shift A, Mesh, Cylinder. I'm going to leave it at 32 and scale that down, rotate X 90, drag it up here, and just scale it down. So this is going to stick in here, and it's going to come up to above here a little bit. Something like that. And I think that's too big. Something like that, maybe. All right, so I think I'll come in here and I'll take this and I'm going to delete that face, pull that back in, and what did I say? Did I say I want it past that? Yes, I do. Of course I do. All right. Let's bring it out a little bit more. Okay. Now I'm going to take this and I'm going to press I to inset, come in like this, E to extrude, push it back, and just delete that back face. And now let's bevel these. Now, is there anything else I need other than, I think it's pretty much a straight bevel. So let's just Control B, pull, make it nice and round and smooth like that. Okay, so that's going to be there. And then we're going to stick something in there. So let's select this and Shift S cursor to select it, to bring the 3D cursor there. I want to make a bolt-like structure with a cut. And so, you know, this is not going to be low poly by any means. And we can change the size of this too, by the way, as I look at it, if it's too big. Let's go with a cube. So this is one way, not a plane. There's one way we could do this. Take a cube, scale it down a little bit. I'm going to go Control 2. That'll add 2 subdivisions on there. And we can scale it a little bit more like this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop an edge loop here, and I'm going to delete some of this. Here, I can't get to the back, so I'm just going to delete those faces, and then I can select that one to delete it. So we have just this. Now I'm going to apply that, and then I'm going to Control 1. I'm going to add one more subdivision, but I won't apply that right now. So let's get this scaled and in place. I think I'm going to scale this in the Y and flatten it out like this. So it still has some curvature, and just start to get a sense for what this would be like. Okay, so I want it to stick out just a little bit. Let's right now make sure that it's not facing the wrong way. Okay. All right, I'm going to come in here and look at this. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to select this and Control B to bevel, and I'm going to roll my mouse so I have just the 2. And I'm going to use that as my indent. So I'm going to take that, and I've changed the shape ever so slightly, but I don't think it's going to be enough to matter. I'm going to select all of these faces here. So just press C for paint select or circle select. I think it's paint select. Hold Shift to get rid of that. So, okay, escape to come out of it. So I've got all of that. All right, so now I'm going to press E and Alt S, and I'm going to pull in. It's going to be a little weird. I'm going to pull in like that. I'm going to hide the subdivision. And I'm going to come back here and get rid of that face there. And I'm going to come in here and get rid of that face there. I'm going to turn the subdivision back on, and I'm going to come back in here, and I'm going to drop an edge loop there and an edge loop there. Let's just see if that looks good enough for what we want to do. And I think it probably does. I'm not necessarily going to zoom in. I may just flatten this out, scale it in the Y a little bit, and just pull it down just a little bit more. So it's a bit more of a border. All right, now, is that too big? I think it is a little bit. And so I'm just going to select both of these. I'm going to edit mode. I'm going to scale it down like that. Maybe just move it a bit. And just I'll have to make sure that makes contact, which it does. And I may go for something like that. So this one has no subdivision. This one has another. I think I will apply that subdivision and take these two and join them together. Then I'll come in here and I'll select it all, M, merge by distance, in case there's anything I can get rid of, and there isn't. So, all right, let's send the 3D cursor back to the middle. Let's just select that. Shift S, cursor to selected. And then take this and set the origin to the 3D cursor and mirror like that, and in the Z. Right now you can move these bolts around if we want to by applying the mirror and selecting, and perhaps we should do that. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's apply. Now come in here and just select a bit of this one, like box select, and Control L to get the whole thing. Look from the front and just press R to rotate and do something like that. Maybe this one selected, Control L, rotate. I don't want it the same. You know, you could do something like that. I don't know if it looks better like that or if it looks better just all in the same orientation, but I'll go ahead and leave that. Let's double check this and save. Okay, the next thing we're going to do, let's do that cutaway. Right here, I'm going to come into the top and I'm going to select maybe that and bring my 3D cursor there. So my next object will come in there. I'm going to bring in a cube and start scaling it down, and just getting a size I think looks decent. I'm going to pull this, pull this up like that, and I'm going to take this back face and pull it to something like that, just to get the sense of, okay, just want to cut away that area there. Now, the best way to do this actually is to have a bevel on this. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to add a bevel, and I'm going to drag it to the top, and I'm going to make this 3, and I'm going to see if maybe I can get rid of that, and in particular this. All right, so it's looking a little funny, but we'll work on that in a bit. Let's see if I take off the cavity shader. I just want to see. Yeah, it's the cavity shader that's making this a little sharp, but let's go ahead and do the Boolean anyhow. I'm just going to take this. Actually, I may select both of them, go into edit mode, and really what I want to do is select this, and I just want to move it to a position that I like. Now I'm going to be curving this, so let's select this edge and this edge, and so I get a position where you can see the curve. Control B, pull, and I'm going to go for like 1, 2, 3. That's a total of 5. Do something like that, and then just look at it and imagine that happening there. All right, let's give it a try. Let's select there, and we're going to add a Boolean. I'm going to drag it to the top and select that. One thing I should have done is I should have looked to make sure this is facing the right way, and it was, so that should be okay. Let's just hide that and see what we've got here. I'm going to shade smooth, and that's going to help. And I think I'll probably need this stuff back. And that's what I get. Drag that up. Okay. Turning the cavity shader back on. That's how she looks. I think we're doing all right. So, yeah. Let's see. I think that's going to be fine. So let's move on now to these tubes here. So I got my 3D cursor right there. Might as well start again with the cylinder. I'm okay leaving it at 32. You certainly don't need that much. Look from the top and drag this back. And just note that they're kind of in the middle, kind of around the end of that thing there. So let's do this. So what does it do? There's a little piece down here, and then it goes up into the tube, and so I'll make that. So what I'm going to do is just take this, and I'm just going to push it down like that. I'm going to pull that up, and I'm going to get rid of that face. Pull it down like this. And I'm going to go ahead and bevel this. I just need 3 though, and then I'll shade smooth. So that's where it starts right there. And then the tube comes up. So let's do something like that. Let's grab that and use the period key. So the tube is going to come up. I think I'll break this out. Shift D to duplicate, P to break it out. Scale this down a bit, and let's just drop that there. And then let's come up a ways. Okay, something like that. I'm going to get rid of that face. And I'm going to actually get rid of the bottom face as well. And we'll shade smooth, slash key to bring that back. So we got that thing there. And it's actually narrow when you see it underneath there. Okay, fine. Let's make this a little narrower. So select it and scale Shift Z. So not in the Z. I'll do something like that. And then let's select it and bring my 3D cursor there. For the next part, we're going to bring in a circle, and we're going to change that to 6 for that hexagonal bolt. Scale it down, pull it down, and to get the right size, it is, I think it's a little narrower than the circle. So let's go for that. Let's try that. Let's just make it like that. Start with that. I have to make a face and extrude it up. It's a nice big bolt. Kind of like that, actually. I'm going to Control B and pull, and just have something like this. And that's probably a little smoother than it would need to be, but I just think it'll look a little bit better. And then there's another little piece. So I'm going to take this piece, copy it, Shift D to duplicate, pull it up, and this one goes how? Big and then smaller on top of that. Let's see if I can do this. So I'm going to scale Shift Z. I want it to sit on top of there. Okay, I don't have much room to make this smaller. I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to select that face. It's hard to tell, but it's selected there. And I'm going to extrude it up. Alright, so I'm actually going to take the whole thing and scale it out. So at least we can start to see it like that. And then I'm going to, do I have a face there? Yeah. Okay, and I'm going to bevel this face like this. And I think I'm going to make this even a little bit bigger. Scale Shift Z, like that. We need to maybe drop an edge loop down here. And that's all going good. This thing now, though, I think needs to be a bit bigger. In fact, maybe the bottom one does. And they're joined, so I'm going to select here and Control L, and I'll just get this one. Scale Shift Z, just make it a bit bigger. So that I can take this one, and I'm going to scale Shift Z, make that a bit bigger like that. And maybe this one could be just a little bit taller, because I only want just a little lip of that coming up. Something like that looks pretty good to me. So hopefully no subdivisions on anything, right? So I'm going to actually be able to just join these things, all of those. Is that everything? I think so. Merge by distance. And let's just double check I got the whole thing. Alright, so now I'm going to come back to the center, take that, Shift S, cursor to selected, and take this piece, set the origin to the 3D cursor, and mirror. Good. Now I'm just wondering, I could still select that piece and scale Shift Z, make it just a little bit narrower. Okay, these two things are also going to be on the bottom. I'm going to Shift D, rotate X 180, and they're going to come there. I'm just going to move them back and look from the side and line them up generally equal. Just decide if I like the position of those or if they need to come in more. So I'm going to try just dragging them in just a little bit more. Notice that all of these bolts are facing the same way, so that's something you can think about. I didn't stagger them like this. And then there's one other piece on here, whether or not we really need it, this piece there, so we could go ahead and build it anyhow. Make sure I have enough room for it, and we'll see. Let's try it. 3D cursor's there, so I'm going to bring in a plane. Let's just move it over. Let's move it over here. It's kind of going to be on the side anyhow. Okay, let's focus on that. Okay, so let's scale that in the X. It's not going to be like that. Let's actually, let me see. Let's scale actually the Y. It's going to be more the cube-like. I'm going to look from the side and just drag it. It's going to kind of be on the side of those. So So just go ahead and do something like that, and then I can change the size. So I'm going to go ahead and extrude down. Now, how far down do I want to come? It really only goes down about as far as the bolts. And I think it's got to be bigger. I'm going to just scale shift Z. Well, not too big. Now that face here is not. I'm going to drag it into the body and X faces. I think I'm going to make it narrower, and I'm just, we're going to keep trying to make it fit. See if I do that. There's the front. Okay, let's try this. Let's select this face, pull it up a bit more, extrude down like this. Take this face, extrude out like this. All right, so far so good. And then take this edge in edge selection and just pull it down like that. Now I'm going to take this and I'm going to scale it in the X a little bit more. I'm going to tuck it in a little bit more. And then I'm going to do some touch up. But first, take these, just make it a little narrower. Take it, pull it back. All right, that's pretty close to what I want. All right, one for vertex selection. I want to do a bevel on this, and the best way I'm finding is I'm going to select those two and press J to join. And this one and this one. J to join. Okay, and now in edge selection, shift alt and click this one and this one, and I can dissolve those edges, and I'll have this. And the reason I did that was so I can select this, and when I do a bevel, it'll curve here and it'll curve back there. So let's just go ahead and do that. Control B, pull. 3 is probably enough, just something like that. And I'm going to take this, I think I'll take this, no I won't, this one and this one, Control B, round that. Let's isolate this and make sure now there is no top. Okay, good. Now we can just keep working on this. All right, and now I'm going to select here, and I'm going to press Control and go around, and that'll make it go all the way. And Control, Control. So I've got all the edges selected, and now I'm just going to bevel this. It looks like a foot or whatever. With 3, something like that. Shade smooth. Double check this not facing the wrong way, and it is. So we also need to fix that. I just want to decide if I like that shape or not. I think it's a little bit too narrow, so I'm going to fix this up. Control 3 to look from the other side, and I'm going to come in here in wireframe and 1 for vertex. I'm going to grab all of that, and I'm going to pull it up like that. Okay. So I do think that maybe these are going to come together just a little bit more. And then this piece here, I'm just going to drag in like that. Maybe even just like that. And I'm going to mirror that. There we go. Okay, and I think I will apply that mirror. And I think I will apply this mirror and this mirror. And maybe I'll join those together. I'm going to get rid of that. Take this thing here, and I don't need any of these. Get rid of those. Let's just bring it up right roughly in the center there. Shift C to bring the 3D cursor back. Let's go into edit mode, select it all, and merge by distance. Yeah, I got rid of some. Okay, so we've got it. So, and that's just in the collection. Let's just call this device 1. So now I can bring in device 1, and I can rotate that, or maybe I'll rotate in the Z. And we could just set it up so we have a couple of different orientations. I'll duplicate that, and maybe we'll go way to the back so you see a piece of the back as well. So you've got that. And there they are. All right, we'll switch over maybe to a matte cap. Let's try some of these. Let's actually turn on the shadow. You can also come over here, switch this to both, and start dragging some of these up. So, relatively simple model to make, but I think it looks very pleasing. I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm not going to texture this. You can texture it in Blender, or you could just take it like that. If you're just getting into Blender, you can take it like that. You can press, let's get rid of the screencast keys. You can press Control Spacebar to maximize, and just set this up, and you can just take a screenshot of that, and I think it would look really cool. All right, so we're going to do some more of this stuff. Thanks to my buddy who originally created this, and we'll see you next time.